This is a brotherly love thing, but Kratz is back on after missing yesterday. I wasn't on Friday. AJ, of course, wasn't on Friday. There was a theme, and it was based around a word on Friday, Kratz. Do you know the word I'm talking about? That Todd Father was all over you about?
Oh, nightmare?
Yeah.
What was it?
Say it.
Nightmare.
Nightmare?
I heard it too. It's sounding a little better. Like it's
I say mirror. I say mirror.
He says mirror. Nightmare.
Oh.
What do you
it's
say?
A mare, like a horse, a mare. Nightmare.
Right.
It's a mare.
Right. So
nightmare.
That Todd Father was cracking up, and he said to Pete Alonso at one point, Kratz, like, hey, do you have a nightmare about this? And it became a whole to do. So I just wanted to catch you up on it.
I missed all that. Sorry.
Mm-hmm.
No, it's definitely we've discussed it. I think it's like the one like little Pennsylvania accent that I have.
Is that a Pennsylvania accent to say mirror?
I've never heard that in my life, but okay.
No, it's how you say like R's. I don't know. That was we've discussed it all weekend. Had in-laws
Did you
in
really?
town and they discussed it. Yeah. Nightmare. Like I've always said nightmare.
It's not a mirror though, it's a mare.
Mare.
No,
That's why Todd Father was like
mare. Yeah, it's like a horse.
I'm not arguing that, but to say nightmare, like it feels like I have to do something different with my tongue and my vocabulary ears.
I have this issue at home. So my girl says most things with an I as an E. So trash, B-I-N is what?
Trash bin?
She says Ben. It's like maybe an Alabama-ish accent. I don't know. Something.
Trash bin?
She says trash Ben. And I'm like, bin. And she's like, bean? You say bin? I'm like, just bin.
Well, it's B-I-N. That's
right.
B-in. So
bin.
It's a bin.
Right. But
you
she
throw
says,
it in the bin.
Trash Ben.
But I say tournament. Like I say tournament because it's not a tournament.
Fine. Tournament's fine.
Tournament.
It's not a tournament.
It's a tournament.
Tournament.
My kids want to play in a baseball tournament.
Yeah, that one's fine.
Tournament.
I don't think there's much there. Nightmare versus nightmare is definitely a problem. It is a nightmare.
Yeah, we all have things that we do.
Yeah.
It's all about where you're from. It's all good.
Oh, it's all good. It was just funny when, obviously, Todd Father was losing his mind. He was like,
out of all the people on this show that should talk about the way things are said, Todd's probably the last on the totem pole.
Todd Father has perfect American English.
Here's a Tom's River perfect American English.
Perfect how you doing American English.
Yeah.
I got a little bit of that too. Actually, it comes out when I'm sitting next to him sometimes. It brings me back to my high school days. Anyway, let's get to some controversy-ish and charge them out.
Charging them out.
So when a team goes through struggles, they'll blame things on someone. Often it's the hitting coach, if not the manager. The Braves are struggling. They're more towards the bottom than the top. And the move they made was essentially firing third base coach Matt Tuiasosopo from his job. He's been reassigned. And Freddie Gonzalez replaces him. Freddie Gonzalez was the former manager of the Braves. They let him go. Brian Snitker took over as the interim manager. And how did that go?
I was there. I know exactly how it went.
How'd it
I
go?
was on the team the year that Snit took over, and Freddie got fired. We were in Pittsburgh. I think I still have the voicemail from Freddie when he called me and told me he was let go. It was like early in the morning. It was like 8 o'clock in the morning. He called me. We flew in from somewhere the night before, and we played a game, lost, and we were terrible. It was 16. That was the year we started 0-9. It wasn't Freddie's fault. We just weren't very good.
But then Snitker takes over.
Snitker takes over, wins the World Series, been there forever. But now they're bringing Freddie back, which, listen, I'm happy for Freddie because he got a raw deal in Baltimore. He got fired in Baltimore after being the bench coach. It's not his fault they couldn't pitch again.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then he was, what was he, umpire? He was doing something with the umpires. I don't know what he was. He told me he was doing something with the umpires.
Wasn't he coaching at a school too?
Yeah, because he lives in Philly.
I talked to him. He came to one of our scrimmage games before the season started, so 2 months ago. Yeah, and he said he lives right outside of where I'm at right now, like 25 minutes. And he was helping at a school. He was helping at different stuff, but he was doing stuff with the umpires. I'm like, you're evaluating umpires? I was like, they're letting you do that? he's like, it's not really evaluating umpires, but it's just kind of something to stay in the game. He was blindsided by the Orioles thing. That was tough. But I think him and Snit are boys, no?
Yeah.
I mean, they know each other. It was just weird. It was a weird thing when Freddie got fired because Snit took over, right? And they literally, I remember they were like, well, we didn't know who to hire to take over because they wanted Terry Pendleton, I think, to take over. But Terry said no. And so they went to Snit and said, Snit said, I'll only do it if Terry is is my bench coach. I think TP became the bench coach. Eddie Perez went to first base. I think everyone else stayed the same. Carlos Tosca, the bench coach, got fired with Freddie because they were considered to be like this. They were buddies.
So if Terry Pendleton takes the job, he was number one. Snit never gets the job.
I think now. I don't know exactly.
Okay.
How it happened exactly. I remember hearing that they said they had a hard time because I thought they said they wanted TP to take over, but they were just thinking TP would take over for that year. And then Snit came in and took over, and then they signed him to a long-term deal, and then he's been there ever since.
Yeah, it worked out really well.
But I remember Snit said he would not take the job unless TP was his bench coach, and TP said okay.
Wow. Okay, so here's the reason for the firing. I mean, whatever. You want to call it reassignment to a minor league infield coordinator job. You got fired from the third base coach job.
Which you never hear of. The third base coach is usually last on the firing list.
So then let me know if this tracks. Alex Anthopoulos, who's usually really straightforward and good on interviews, said, quote, there's been some aggressive sends, and that's part of the job. But the results from my standpoint, and in talking to Brian Snitker, he understood and he ultimately agreed. I felt like we could do better.
How did you feel like you could do better? Like, were you evaluating other third base coaches? Does this bring Freddie out to the field, and is he worried? Like, is he worried that guys are being sent? Like, okay, well, the other guy got fired. I don't want to send him. Fortunately, Freddie's way more experienced than that, and Freddie probably isn't worried about losing his job. But I don't know. I feel like there's something that we don't know. Because Matt was he was a guy over there, and I haven't watched enough Braves games to say there's too many aggressive sends. But I feel like maybe this is not his fault and more of a, hey, the team's not winning, so who else could we fire?
It doesn't make sense to me. The reason they said what they said doesn't make any sense. I mean, they're having a hard time scoring runs, so he's being aggressive. Wave him home Wendell Kim. Joey Cora waved home everybody when he was our third base coach. I mean, we had Jeff Cox, who didn't even know if he was sending you sometimes. He was so great. He was laughing and talking to you, but he was like, do you go? Do you stay? I don't know what to do. I don't know. No.
You just decided yourself?
Yeah, pretty much. But no, listen, the third base coach doesn't have to make a lot of decisions other than when to send guys. I mean, most of the time, as a base runner, you should know whether you go first or third. You have a pretty good idea. You should. Now, not all guys do, but most of the time you have an idea when you're going to score and when you're not. You should know your own speed, know the outfielders, know your third base coach, but whatever.
So I have two questions.
Well, actually, before you say that, Scott, like the other thing too, what AJ said, he kind of glazed over, they're struggling to score runs. They're also not a lineup that has 7 All-Stars in it right now. You're going to be more aggressive because you're like, as a third base coach, you're like, I don't know if the next guy can get it done. Like, you're watching the game. You're watching how guys are going to face, the pitcher that's out on the mound. Okay, maybe there's a bad right-on-right matchup that's coming up. The guy that's coming up to hit, we're going to send him here. We're going to maybe take more of a chance. If you're just a team that mashes, you don't ever get anybody thrown out at the plate. And you're super, super passive at third base because it's like, well, the next guy's probably going to get a hit because we rake.
Although the Yankees fired Phil Nevin, remember? Phil Nevin took the fall that one year. He sent a guy from third. It was a bang. They weren't scoring any runs. He sent a guy aggressively. I forget who it was. Maybe Gleyber Torres. Got thrown out of the plate. They fired him the next offseason. He was like the scapegoat. They're like, oh, we didn't win because Phil Nevin sent the guy, and it wasn't Phil. I agreed with the send. It was in the playoffs, and I don't know, they lost to somebody, obviously. But it's not the third base coach's fault. Most third base coaches, have another role on the team, whatever that role is, infield, outfield, camaraderie guy, I mean, whatever you want to call it. But, I mean, third base coach gives signs that the manager gives him, puts it on, and he has to – listen, they have to make split-second decisions, but most of them are pretty good at it.
So is this a team foreseeing something
They're just trying something.
Spark themselves?
I think they're just trying something, send a wake-up call, whatever. I don't know.
They're 27 and 31.
In this article, though, I find it interesting. Snit said – what did Snit say? That, you know, he saw it and Snit agreed. What's Snit going to say? No? Snit's in a contract year, let's not forget. Snit wants to get that one more year to get to 50 in the organization. 50 years. Like, he's not going to argue with Alec. What can he say? Like, no, let's not. Because here's the thing. I know managers for a fact that I've played for and end up losing their job say, I'm not going. Because they'll come to him and say, hey, listen, if you don't fire this person, then you're going with them. And I know managers have said, I'm gone. And I've seen it happen. Right?
Mm-hmm.
So I guarantee you Snit wasn't like, they went to him and said, hey, we're going to fire Tuiasosopo, Matt, but what's Snit going to say? No, like, don't do that. And they're going to be like, okay, well, we'll get rid of you and we'll bring Freddie Gonzalez back to finish the rest of the year as the manager. Like, what's he going to say? Of course he agrees. He has to. He's his free agent year.
He also doesn't have the final say. Like, he's the manager.
Exactly.
He has bosses. He has, 3 bosses?
It used to be the manager. Listen, the manager used to be the boss.
Mm-hmm.
And the manager pretty much ran every organization. Now, the GM was there, but the manager ultimately made the decision who played, who didn't play, who was on his team, who wasn't on his team. And the GM brought players in and they would talk about it. The roles have reversed. Now it's the GM and the president of baseball. They make all the decisions now. And the manager just has to kind of say, okay, and make them work a lot of times. Now, the ones that are good at it, they work with their front office people. The ones that aren't are the ones that you see always complaining and fighting and not working.
Right. Braves are 27 and 31. They're a half game worse than the Nationals right now. They're 10 games away from the Phillies and the Mets. It seems like a tall task for them to try and climb back into the division. Wild card, though. Okay.
If they get in and are healthy, do you want to face Sale, Strider, Schwellenbach?
Acuna's looking good.
I mean, do you want to face that lineup in a 3-game wild card series?
Nope.
And you get Sale, Strider, Schwellenbach?
They just don't want to get too off the mark right now.
Yeah.
Also, they started 0-7. They haven't gone on a great run.
Well, they got back to 500, which was a win.
And then they fell back a little, but I don't know. I'm not that worried. But okay, it's an interesting story. On our way out here, before we swing to break and get to Ken Rosenthal, we'll talk more about this in our break, but we are all lined up on Chat BCC. It's a free little chit-chat app, bottom right corner of your screen right now. Hit the QR code. If you have a question for Ken Rosenthal, we can do a little Grillin' Ken at the end of our conversation with Ken. I will check Chat PCC and I will give it a look and see if anybody has a fresh question for him. So again, if you're watching right now, use that code. You can sign up. It's totally free. Go to the side chat section. There's 2 sections, host chat and side chat, and ask a question. We'll be using this pretty frequently, as obviously this gives us the ability to chat with our community 24/7 and not just for the 2 hours during the show. We'll be right back with Inside Scoop. And there it is again. Chat BCC is all lined up. So I'll be checking the side chat here for questions. Kratz, you just got signed up. Did you see some of the host conversations going on yesterday?
I didn't see any of the conversations. I saw how Cam introduced himself. That's all I saw.
Yeah, the host chat. So I'm going to teach you how this works. The host chat is on the left side. That's where we'll post things, okay? But then if you click into what, say, Cam said, you can see comments from the rest of the FT fam. We put up a poll yesterday, stuff like that, okay? I was watching last night, so I'm
Are you supposed to follow people?
You can. But we're mostly focused on the FT chat. So, I posted who's watching the games yesterday and what games you're watching. And then late last night, I was like, is Andy Fletcher taking over the Mets-Dodgers game? It was a great game, but we'll talk about that part later. Well, that was a game that ended at like 1:30 in the morning.
Oh, yeah, trust me.
Yeah, it was a really good game, though. It was one of the better games I've seen this year. And on that topic, by the way, first of all, foulterritory.chat if you want to get involved, and I'll check for some questions for Ken. On that topic, the Mets are calling up Ronny Mauricio ahead of Tuesday's game. Mark Vientos, hamstring injury, IL, and I saw him not head to first. I'm trying to remember, it was late in the game, and you're like, wait, where's Vientos? And out of the box, he yanked it, so he's going to miss some time.
But by the way, can we discuss that? Are we worried about Tanner Scott?
You don't think it's just a rough patch?
He's throwing 4.5 ERA.
Yeah.
He's been giving it up. Every time I look at a box score for the Dodgers, it hasn't been good.
Fastball command issue.
Yeah.
Because then he's using more sliders than usual. So I'm wondering if that's...
He used to be he used to just throw heaters up in the zone and nobody could get to it.
Right. So do you think that he just lost his command? I don't think there's a velo issue.
No. Velo's there. I don't know. I'm just is it time to worry about him?
Kratz?
I don't know. I feel like it's just a run. He blew a couple saves, but they also brought him in some games where they weren't safe situations, and he gave it up a little bit. I don't know. I don't know if there's like a feeling comfortable as the closer kind of thing. Hey, you're not the closer, but you are the closer. Is there something to do with that? Like that kind of Dodgers undefined role thing?
Let's hit the inside scoop with FT Senior Insider Ken Rosenthal. Ken, I want to start with something your colleague Dennis Lin put out there yesterday about the Padres. I just thought the name connection was fascinating. So the Padres have interest in Jarren Duran, and they've had interest in him since at least last year, according to this report. That's cool. I mean, teams have interest in a lot of different players. Do you think that there would be any mutual interest? Because if you look back to last year, Jarren Duran by wins above replacement was like a top 5 player in the league. If I told you this a year ago, you'd be like, no way the Red Sox are trading this guy. They're signing him up long term. So what did you think?
Well, I was aware of this too. We spoke, Dennis and I, about it, and it's been going on a while, this interest in Duran. It dates back to 24, even before that. So yes, Scott, I'm glad you said that teams are interested in all kinds of players at all the time, but this is a specific name that we've heard linked to the Padres. And the difference here with Duran, even though he is a really good player, is that the Red Sox have a surplus of outfielders. So with Roman Anthony still in the minors and them theoretically needing to clear a spot for him, maybe that would be the way they go. The question I have with this whole conversation is, what are the Padres going to give for Duran? They've depleted their system in recent years by making trade after trade, and I don't know that they really have a lot that would satisfy the Red Sox. If the Red Sox were intent on trading Duran, or Wilyer Abreu for that matter, another outfielder who is really good, they would want a considerable return, and I don't know that the Padres are prepared to give it to them, even if A.J. Preller wants to do something. It's just not a situation where he's had or has as much depth as he did before.
I mean, Preller has said it on the record many times. He can find more prospects to trade. He'll draft them and he'll trade them right away. Trey Turner. I mean, he's not afraid. So don't worry about Preller.
He has now, AJ. It's the moment.
I know, but Preller always figures out a way to trade. It's like, man, how does he have 400 prospects? Every player in the Padres, it seems like a prospect when they get traded away. It's amazing what he does. My question is more on, if Jarren Duran goes, is this the path they need for Roman Anthony? Because why is Roman Anthony not up? I know I kind of said, I don't know if we want to bring him up, but is he the answer to the Red Sox woes if he does come up? Because you already have Campbell there. He's struggling now. You got Meyer there. Casas obviously out for the year. But is Anthony the one that can get him over the hump and get him going?
I don't know that the answer to that is yes. And as we've seen, AJ, prospects are really exciting, and the Red Sox and their fans have been salivating over those guys for years now, literally years. But getting to the major leagues, transitioning to the major leagues is not easy. And while Campbell had some immediate success, he has now struggled. Meyer, of course, just got here, and there's no guarantee Anthony, as promising as he looks, like Jack Caglione in Kansas City, is going to immediately make an impact. There's just not that easy a path for many of these players. Mike Trout went back to the minor leagues, if you recall, after coming up. So if the Red Sox do something along these lines, trade an outfielder with some service time for whatever they want, I don't know what they want exactly. I would imagine what they would want is something that could help them in the near future, if not immediately, if not right away in the present, because they want to compete. This team was built to compete. They signed Bregman. They traded for Garrett Crochet, signed him. It's not going to be a rebuilding movement there entirely when you have those kinds of players.
I know it's early. We're still well over, 58 days away from the trade deadline, Ken. I don't want to talk about who might be on the block, but I want to ask you this. Of the reasonable sellers, if you look at the sellers that could possibly be out there, White Sox, Orioles maybe, A's possibly, Angels maybe, Marlins, Pirates, Rockies obviously. Who do they have? Who is that? That's the thing when I look at the sellers. Maybe the Diamondbacks would be the one with maybe someone like Gallen.
Orioles.
Who?
Orioles.
Orioles. But the Orioles, are they finally going to trade away some of their guys? Like, you see what I'm saying? Like, the question I always have when we go to a trade deadline is, it's great if you want to get guys, but some of these teams are so bad, they don't have anybody to give you. So who's AJ, really out there from these teams? That's what I want. You're
absolutely right. The Orioles, as Scott mentioned, are the exception. The Orioles have a number of players on expiring contracts that they would be willing to trade. They've got a reliever in Felix Bautista who is not yet quite back to himself, but I would imagine teams would want. Who am I talking about? Ryan O'Hearn, one of the hottest hitters in baseball, although people really don't know it. Cedric Mullins, he is a center fielder who is streaky, but is someone who would be attractive. Zach Eflin, another one. Sugano, the pitcher. All these guys are potential free agents, as is Sir Anthony Dominguez. So you have a lot of potential pieces to trade, Bautista being another, Ryan Mountcastle with another year left being another. If they want to do some things, they will be able to do some things. They're not like the Rockies and the Pirates and the Marlins and the A's to a certain extent. Those teams don't have a whole lot to give. The Orioles do. Now the question is, where are they going with this? Are they going back into something of a retooling phase? Are they going to try to compete again next year? And if they are, it's going to be difficult to replicate the performances or the quality of all of these players. That's a question that maybe they deal with later, because if they're out of contention, you might as well listen on every one of those guys I just mentioned, if not more.
Ken, you mentioned Jack Caglione. We got a question from Drew Mungilo. I'm not sure. I'm not as much of a wordman as you, Ken, but what does Jack Cag's call-up mean, long and short-term, for Vinny Pasquantino?
Short-term, not much at all. They're going to continue playing Pasquantino at first base, DHing him on occasion. Salvador Perez will catch, of course, first base and DH on occasion. Caglione has been playing the outfield at AAA. That's what the Royals would like to do with him, at least short-term. Now, long-term, is it possible he ends up at first base? They do something with Pasquantino? Yes, I would imagine it is. But if you're the Royals and you're tied for 28th in the major leagues in runs scored with the Pirates, ahead of only the Rockies, you need as many bats in your lineup as you can find. They don't have nearly enough. So what they want to do is squeeze all of these guys into the same lineup.
Ken, as someone that knows Jack, because he obviously went to Florida, and I went and saw his fiance's father, who's my dentist, this morning. My teeth are looking great, by the way. What are they expecting from Jack? I know, listen, he's crushing in AA, crushed in AAA. He's put up these numbers, but they're not going to throw him like in the 3-hole right away and say, hey, go save this team's year, because they need Salvi to turn around. Bobby Witt's not having a great year. He's having a good year, but not the year he had last year. Are the Royals fans going to look at Jack and say, this is our savior, and it's not really fair to him?
They would be mistaken, the fans would, and the team would, if they looked at him that way. No young player should be looked at that way. Jack Caglione was drafted just last year. It's less than a year since he was taken number 6 overall out of the University of Florida, and great name dropping there, AJ, on his father. And he is a guy that yes, has great promise, amazing power, 15 home runs combined, AA and AAA, big-time OPS. Does chase, oddly does not strike out that much for someone who chases, but I would imagine, like with most young players, there's going to be some adjustment period. Maybe he gets hot right away and then has to adjust, like Kristian Campbell. Maybe it happens right away. So I don't see him. No one should see him. No one should see Roman Anthony. No one should see any top prospect as a savior. But the question for the Royals is, and the question for any team considering the promotion of a top young player is, can this player make us better than we are today? And the answer with Jack Caglione, I would imagine, is going to be yes.
Yeah, he can hit a ball. He's going to hit a ball over those dang fountains in Kansas City. You watch at some point. He might hit a ball into the arch tonight in St. Louis. So watch out. Watch out if you're up there in the arch. You never know. One might come flying through your windows off the bat of Jack Keg. All right. Ken, do you know what the attendance was in Miami last night?
I don't, but I saw a tweet in which I noticed quite a few empty seats.
Okay, so it's 5,894. I don't know where that ranks on the all-time lowest attendance in the last 25 years, but it's got to be high. What do the Marlins do? Because is baseball dead in Miami? They've tried different ownerships. They built a new stadium. They've got a good team. They sell the team. They get a good, whatever. They keep getting rid of it. Now they're reinventing the wheel with having their infielders 20 feet from home plate while they're taking batting practice, working on their jumps with nets in front of them. What the heck is going on in Miami? And will they just trade everybody away again and just keep saying, we're starting over?
It's a full-blown rebuild, and there's no secret here. And I want to say, before we even get into the Marlins, baseball gets what it deserves when you have a crowd of 5,000 for those two teams. Those two teams don't deserve even 5,000. And I'm not trying to disrespect the players necessarily. It's just the way the franchises are run, the performances on the field. Now, as to the Marlins, yes, they're continuing to do what they've done for a while now, and that's stack young players and keep collecting young players in the hopes of a better future. Sometimes this works, as we've seen, and sometimes it doesn't. But I would expect at the deadline, it won't just be Alcantara available, and maybe they don't even trade him with the performance that he has had so far. Maybe they just prefer to keep him and trade him once he gets going again, maybe in the offseason, maybe next year. Edward Cabrera, Jesus Sanchez, these are guys that they can move. They're not going to get a ton back for them. Maybe in a starting pitching market that is kind of thin, Cabrera gets you something. But that's where they are. Now, we can agree with it or disagree with it, but it's a clear path. We can't criticize them for not having a direction. They have a direction. It's just a matter of when this finally turns around. And yeah, they have a lot of promising young players. But at some point, like all teams, you've got to surround them with some quality veteran players. And the Marlins don't seem terribly interested in doing that.
All right, we hit on the Red Sox a little bit, but Josh Schiffman on Chat BCC said, now with the Red Sox slumping, is there a chance that Buehler gets traded? Obviously, is a one-year deal going. He has a chance to be traded, but could there be a Dodgers reunion?
Maybe the Dodgers should just collect every pitcher, and by the playoffs, they can figure out who's healthy and who's not, and choose from a staff of 50. Seriously, though, with the Red Sox, yeah, I can understand the questions about them possibly becoming a seller. But again, we're 2 months away, just about 2 months away from the deadline. The Red Sox built this team to win. That's why they gave Bregman a $40 million average annual value. That's why they traded for Crochet, signed him. I cannot imagine them conceding easily. We've been hearing from them all season. We're going to be better. We expect to play better, but they have not put it together yet. Do I believe they can put it together? I absolutely do. And especially with Bregman coming back at some point. So they may do some things along what we discussed earlier, trading from depth, from strength, with an outfielder, for instance. But I don't expect them to be full-blown sellers and trading away Buehler and others just for the sake of collecting young players.
Ken, I know we're early, but are there any starting pitchers that we should keep an eye on when it comes to the trade deadline? Because, and I feel like this is getting well documented now from people who break down stats, Sandy Alcantara is not likely to be the guy. I mean, he has been, for the most part, a mess and just not bouncing back yet from Tommy John surgery. I think if we started off the season, he was the big name. Like, hey, who's going to get the big prize? This is a former Cy Young winner, should still be in his prime. So if not him, who do you think could be, one of the big arms moved that could dictate who wins the World Series, like Jordan Montgomery a couple years ago, who I know fell off, but that proved to be probably the biggest trade of the year a couple years ago.
Scott, I'll give you a couple of thoughts on this. One, as we wait for the news on Corbin Burnes, the Diamondbacks, and if Corbin Burnes is suffering a serious injury, requires surgery, whatever the case might be, if he is out for the season, they will have to look at being a seller. They are a mess right now. They're one of the most disappointing teams in the game, right there with Atlanta in the National League, behind the Orioles for pure disappointment, but they have not played well. They're 28-31. They've got a road trip to Atlanta and Cincinnati that starts tonight. That will be important for them. But if Burnes is out, then you have to look at their expiring contracts, and Gallen and Merrill Kelly are two of them. They would be guys who, in a trade scenario, would attract quite a bit of interest, even though Gallen has struggled. And the other team that is really interesting to me, and I've written about them, I talked about them on Fair Territory as well, is Milwaukee. Milwaukee has the potential to have a surplus of starting pitching. Now, it's a combination of guys that have kind of emerged this year, like Chad Patrick and Logan Henderson, prospects like Jacob Mizorowski, and of course, veterans like Freddie Peralta and Aaron Savali. Could I see the Brewers, who have done this before, traded at the deadline even when in contention, moving a guy like Peralta to create opportunities for other players and just work off their depth? Yeah, I could see that. They did it with Hader. They didn't do it with Willy Adames, but it's something that the position that they're in right now, if it stays this way, and if they remain relatively healthy, it is something that perhaps they can entertain, and I would keep my eye on the Brewers.
Wow. Okay. All right, Ken. Before I let you go, how was that Dodgers-Yankees game on Saturday that you did? Did you have to fill? Because it was not very close.
AJ, it was pretty funny that I didn't even get on the air until it was 10-0. So I doubt anyone ever heard anything I said because TV sets were clicking off all over America. But we did a pretty good job, I hope, of entertaining the viewers, even though the game wasn't all that entertaining itself. We had position players pitching on both sides. It was just a total mess.
Okay, good, because I didn't watch it, so I just didn't know if you had a good report I should have heard or not. So I just was wondering.
Oh, I had several good reports, AJ, but you don't read me, you don't listen to me, so it's all good.
I mean, at least you know where you stand, Ken. That's all I care about. Let people know where they stand. So I mean, I have
AJ, you're like the Marlins. You have a clear direction.
That's right. That's right. That's exactly right. Just call me Peter.
Bendix.
I didn't say it.
Ken, thank you for the time. Good to see you. We'll catch you on Fair Territory on Thursday.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you. That's Ken Rosenthal. That's the Inside Scoop. And you can catch Fair Territory, either yesterday's show, much more on what we talked about here that he goes in depth on, including the Yordan Alvarez injury story, which I think is super fascinating, and Ken goes in depth there. And then on Thursday, Ken is live to take your questions. Matt Boyd of the Cubs joining us next on FT. FT fam, you might have a boring, old, crusty, unpretty razor, and it might be expensive. So, AJ, should they consider another option?
Look how cool this is. Look at the color scheme. Look at it. Little sheath to hide the blades when you travel. Works great. I've been using this for a couple weeks now with Harry's. Clean, no bumps, no cuts. Works great. And you know the best part? It's a great price, especially if you use the foul territory code, Scott.
That's right. Harrys.com/foul. Guess what? You can also get yourself a no-risk trial. So if you don't like your shave, no worries. It's on Harry's. They're not worried about it. Get the edge on your shave with Harry's. Normally, the trial set is $10. But right now, you can get it for just $6 at harrys.com/foul. Use the exclusive link, harrys.com/foul, for a $6 trial set. You know, Harry's is so good that they were even able to shave most of the fans off of the photo down in Miami. Did you see that? They basically shaved all the fans off the seats.
Off Kratz's horrible mustache.
That's gone too. Did you see this, Kratz? most of the fans were shaved off here. It's almost a clean shave.
I want to recount. Shocker, it's Florida. I need a recount. No way. Whoever got that count did not go around like we used to in the Florida State League games and count how many people were in the game opening pitch, first pitch of the game. No way. I'm going for a recount. I'm going for challenge system. Comes back, we're taking the under.
Forget all that. When I played in the Metrodome, we used to do that because there was that few people. We played the Orioles one time, and they were seriously. I remember we were like 1, 2, 3. Yeah. Sit down. Don't go up and get a hot dog. 4, 5, 6, 7.
How far did you think you got?
We got into the hundreds, and it was.
That's it.
And there wasn't many more. I'm telling you, back in the day, we played there were some 10 a.m. games we played because of football.
There was more staff than fans.
We played some noon games in the Metrodome against some bad teams, and we weren't very good, and it was bad.
That's crazy.
I mean, if there was 3,000 people, I would have been shocked.
Right. Oof.
But, of course, they announced 10, so.
Yeah. Season ticket holders that don't show up get counted. Hey, we've got Matthew Boyd of the Cubs joining us right now in Foul Territory. Matthew, great to have you back on. First off, nice and simple. What's the best, most underrated part of being with this organization? Like, give me something that you didn't expect that they do really well. It could be something super simple, like they have the best cookies in the clubhouse or whatever, or it could be something about the ballpark. What are you seeing and how you doing?
Doing good, man. Loving being a Cub. The clubhouse is amazing. I mean, you heard about it from the visiting side. The visiting side at Wrigley, is older. It's gotten better over the years, but it's like you hear about how great the home side was. The home side's amazing. It's really special. The food's elite. Getting to play at Wrigley every day is really awesome, though, man. I mean, that's like 3 things. I'm sold on it. But it's Wrigley day game at Wrigley is special, man.
Is it Matthew or Matt? Which one is it? Before I dig in here,
whatever you want, man. Matthew's the game that that's the name that my mom, that mom and dad gave me, and got to make sure.
What does your mom and dad call you when they get mad at you? What does your mom and dad call you?
Matthew Robert.
Ooh, yeah. Okay, so Matthew Robert. Matt Bob. No. So Matthew, first of all, there's a couple things I want to say. The clubhouse is great. It looks like a club. Scott's jealous. I mean, he's only got one eye, but I mean, all the neon lights and all the stuff they have that goes on in there is pretty cool. I have to admit, as a Cub hater, I have to admit that. But now, playing at Wrigley, you don't know this because you're only played at the new Wrigley. But back in the day, before they put up those scoreboards in each side of the thing, it was awesome, right? Now, you call me old guy, get off my lawn. But I wish they would have taken those and just left them down and just had the one scoreboard, because you'd be behind the plate and you're like looking up at the game and you're like, number 11's pitching for Cincinnati against number 2 for Pittsburgh. And then you'd have to go look at the roster and you're like, number 2 is this guy, number 11 is, oh, okay, now I know who's pitching, right? Like, that was the charm of Wrigley. Now they don't have that.
I know. I'm still trying to figure out the center field scoreboard. Is like with the numbers on the starting pitcher, like is that the number they are on the roster? Because it's not the playing numbers. Like, what do you know what that is? Like
that's what I'm saying. It's the number on the roster. So you have to kind of I think it goes alphabetical. So if you kind of know the teams, you're like, all right, Abbott, Green, Lodolo. You're like, okay, maybe I'm on this one. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I'm still figuring that out. It's cool though, man. Like the history behind it is so. It's special. I mean, I grew up going to games in the Kingdome and Safeco Field in Seattle, and like an old ballpark to me was the Kingdome. Just through my childhood. So getting to play at Wrigley, man, it's a whole nother level. It's so cool.
You walk around. Listen. You walk around a lot. I mean, talking to guys that play there even for a year or like 5 years and become like Cubs legends. They always talk about walking around the stadium. Do you ever do that? And, like, do you get noticed or you not get noticed?
You get noticed a little bit. It's such a cool, like Wrigleyville is such an awesome area. It's just so different. It's a stadium in a neighborhood, so you get to there's so many cool things to do, good spots to eat. So we're a huge family. We got 4 kids, man. So you can't really miss the Boyd family. So we're getting noticed a little bit, but yeah, we walk around and experience it, and it's again, it's so special, man. I'm grateful to be a Cub and get to call that place my office right now.
Matthew, 2 things about this. One, all the workers there are White Sox fans, so don't let them fool you. They're all White Sox fans deep down, okay? Because you know how many Cub employees I have when we would play Cubs White Sox, that they would be like, hey, listen, I might be wearing this color, but go White Sox. I really don't like them. So we'll keep that quiet for now. And then second of all, I played in the Kingdom, and that place was a rat trap, okay? So, I mean, from Kingdom to Safeco was like, oh, my gosh, like what a great place. But the Kingdom, it wasn't quite as bad as like Old County Stadium, but it was when that place went down, it wasn't like there wasn't a lot of people crying except for maybe some hitters. All right. But when you're in Chicago and you say you have 4 kids, you're walking around, what's your spot? I don't want you to tell me where I'm assuming you live somewhere around Wrigleyville, right? Do you have a spot you kind of sneak into with your family just to get away?
We're finding some right now. It's still new to us, right? Like we've hit up some good restaurants, and we found some places we really like. My wife and I are finding some good date spots, but the kids found a good ice cream spot, and they're all about it. There's that Jenny's ice cream in the area, and that's a real treat for them right now. So yeah.
All right. No, my question is, we're going to bring up a picture here, and we talk about jerseys and jerseys changes. Can you confirm or deny for me? Is that a jersey that doesn't button the whole way down? Is that a shirt, or is that a piece of Velcro that's holding your jersey closed because you have the top 2 buttons undone?
So I like the top buttons undone. That's a Happer move right there. Ian Happ, in spring training, he saw the jersey open. He's like, hey, you got to try stitching it like this, and his is stitched all the way down. He has Danny, the clubhouse clubhouse manager, he puts a little seam in there. So I tried it out in Tokyo. I'm a fan. It's got to go over the top. You can't unbutton it anymore. But yeah, I like that. That's a hat tip to Ian Happ right there.
So you got your jersey customized, and last year Nike said no customizations. Did you have to get this? Did you have to get this like passed by the league? Are you allowed to do this? And do you think other guys are going to follow?
It happened in the clubhouse after the fact. Danny's navigating all those things. If there was anything, I know nothing of it. No one's going to follow a 34-year-old left-handed pitcher in terms of fashion sense. Let's just say that, right? Like, I mean, if they do, that's cool, and that'll be a first for me. Hey, my wife likes the way I look in a uniform, so that's all that's going for me. That's what matters most.
Matthew, I was never unbutton my jersey guy. Like, I just took it off every time. Like, never unbuttoned it to put it on. Never unbutton. So you must be a non-unbuttoned guy, right? You just pull it off.
Oh yeah,
like a shirt. Now,
right over the top now.
Now, is there a reason for that? Because I was just lazy. Now, there were times where I would get mad and I would rip them off, and all the buttons would go flying like Hulkamania. But I don't think with the new style that I could only be stuck. So I don't know. I like it, but I don't know. It's not practical when you get angry. You're like, ah.
I know. I mean, I don't think I had that kind of grip strength like you had to pull that thing off and let the buttons start shooting everywhere. Anger wise, I don't know if the jersey is what's going to get what the anger is going to get taken out on the jersey for me. But yeah, you're not tearing those stitching. That thing's reinforced. So something else is going to go before that stitching does. Danny does a good job with that thing.
All right. Now, actual baseball questions, okay? With your history, with how you kind of came back last year, injuries that you were coming back from, when you sign this contract, we talk about it all the time, starting pitchers injuries, starting pitchers on teams that want to make the playoffs. Cubs are in a place to make the playoffs. Do you fight back against the organization front office if they're like, hey, we want to make sure you're healthy for the postseason. We're going to miss a start. We're going to go to 6-man here. We're going to do a bullpen day. Do you fight back against that?
I don't know. I mean, when those situations arise, Counts does such a great job, and Tommy, of like, they have a plan for everything, right? So when, like, I'm sure there's nothing we can't talk through. I know I'm already over my innings total for the regular season and the playoffs combined last year. That being said, I feel great. I think the ball's coming out of my hand, in terms of velocity, better than it really ever has, and feel like we're in a great spot with that. The training staff has been awesome, and we've got a good plan going forward. But I mean, Counts has a lot of experience. Tommy has a lot of experience, both on the coaching and the playing side. So when those situations come up, the goal is to be healthy all the way through the end of October. The goal is to be ready and pitching your best. So you got to be open to everything that's going to help the team win. You got to be open to just have the conversation. Like, I don't know what the future holds, but if any of those things come about, you just talk it through, right? And those guys have a lot of wisdom to lean back on, and you're always ears to kind of whatever does come your way. But we always want to pitch when it comes down to it, right? We always want the ball in our hand.
Yep. Well, I want to ask you about the bullpen then. I don't know how much, you focus on individuals around you and what changes they make, but the bullpen for the Cubs over the past month or so in terms of ERA has been towards the top in baseball. Is there something that you can pinpoint that's done within the organization or by pitching coach and manager that helps guys really find themselves? Because this isn't the marquee, big name bullpen, at least right now, that I'm looking at on paper. It's some guys that have kind of bounced around the league and now end up as valuable members of a really strong bullpen that's also missing a couple pieces.
Yeah. We have a lot of awesome guys down there. We have a lot of awesome arms. Our pitching department does a great job of preparing us every single day, every single series, to bring out the best in each of us. But I think one thing that's always preached here is just like we all have unique strengths, and that's what makes us like who we are. That's what got us to where we are, whether it's, Press or Palencia or Palm or, anybody else. Like it's, and across the starting pitching side too, is that we all have game plans. We all know what the opponent does, but like what we do and what makes us inherently like, who we are individually is that's what got us here. So, I think you see guys that, it's preached to like, double down on our strengths and understand what's ahead of us, but double down on our strengths. And there's a lot of good veteran leadership in the bullpen too. And, that's what makes this club as a whole really special, is just the top to bottom. We got good people. We have a really fun clubhouse, man, to be a part of. We really like being around each other, and it goes a long way when it comes to a baseball season, right? And you're around these guys more than you are your own family. So we have a lot of fun. We pull for each other. We make each other better, and that's definitely the case down in the bullpen too.
Okay, so you said that Hap was the one who came up with the jersey idea, right? Pete Crow Armstrong changes his hair every day. Dansby Swanson is like the all-American perfect kid, right? Did you expect the offense out of this team that you're getting? And can PCA win the MVP? Because I think he's kind of a little dark horse there for the old PCA. Now he needs to go back to the stars in his hair. That would help him. But, what do you think?
Yeah, we got a great offense, man. It's a really deep lineup. We got guys that attack you in different ways. They know how to work in a bat in different ways. We got guys that can run the ball out of the yard, give you a long at bat. I think what's so special about this offense is like when you get to sit back and watch it is like they score runs in so many different ways. Whether it's the long ball, whether it's taking an extra base here, whether it's just getting a guy over. Like I said, working in a bat, and it's really cool. Pete is special, man. What he can do in all facets of his game, whether it's on the base paths, how he plays defense, and how he can work in a bat, how he can, the power that he has. It's really fun to watch. He's got the tools to do that. He's got the tools to be, he's in that conversation now. He's got the tools to do it. And it's fun to watch every single day, man. It's like watching dude really come into his own, and he plays the game at a high level. And I'm grateful he's in center field behind me, man, because there's balls that you watch get hit in the gap, and like you just see him close on it, and you're like, oh, that's nice to have on our team. It's really special.
All right, last one. You're projected to start tomorrow, correct? You're starting. So we're going to let you go so that you can make it to your Uber, your bus, or your taxi. You're making some big cheese now. Are you still getting on the team bus to go to the field? And what does that schedule look like the day before a start?
Well, coming up with those Tiger teams, I took way too many taxi cabs and Ubers to beat the veterans to the field. Like Francisco Rodriguez and Saltalamacchia. Salty was making it like if you were there, if he beat you to the field, it was not good on any level. So, life was going to be miserable for the foreseeable future. So I did my taxi and Uber time. Yeah, I'm hopping on the team bus, and I'm not ashamed to say it. It's there. And pre-start, it's going over the guys that I think are going to be in the lineup tomorrow. Understanding who's going to, understanding some tendencies, seeing their swings for guys I'm not familiar with. And it's, just kind of a prep day. You want to not do too much, but at the same time, you want to get, you want to fire at some fire off some high reps, make sure you're getting to your top speeds, weight room and, throwing wise and whatnot, and just preparing for tomorrow, and tomorrow's the fun day. You get to go compete.
Yeah.
Ain't no way you're taking taxis. You make way too much money. So it's bus or Uber Black. Dude, these people, they don't understand. Like, I tell them, like, I'm taking Uber Black, and they're like, you got to get the XL, man. You got to get the Uber super small. Like, we're tall people. I need the extra leg room. They get all mad at me because it costs like $10 extra. I'm like, no, we're getting the big car because I'm a big leaguer.
$10?
Not $10 extra. Also, sometimes Uber X gives you a better car.
No, than like an Escalade?
No, but you don't always get a big car. Sometimes you get like a little Lincoln or whatever.
No, not when you get the black, Scotty.
Black is not always a big car.
You're getting the black or the XL. You ain't getting the taxi, the yellow taxi like back in the day. Now, we used to take taxis because there was no Uber, but he's a big leaguer. He ain't taking a taxi.
Hey, I'm on the bus now. There's always leg room on the bus, so I'm not ashamed of that.
We're going to get AJ a bus from now on then.
Yeah, you know what? You guys should get me a Prevost, and I'll take it. Have all the 4 wings. You know what? You guys I might even let y'all sleep on it.
Thank you. Well, we're getting a party bus, but Matt's got to get on his bus. So, Matthew, thanks for joining us, man. Really appreciate it. Good luck tomorrow. We'll catch you again in a few weeks.
Thanks, guys. Have a good one.
You too. Appreciate you. Matthew Boyd from the Cubs. Be right back.
Scott, you need to check out this Roback hoodie I have. It's 85 plus degrees here in Florida. Look, lightweight, feels great, cool colors, perfect for those hot Florida days.
I agree, AJ. Color looks fire. And you can get your own sweatshirt, polo, hoodie. Go check out Roback. And if you do and you're a first-time customer, Roback.com using the code FOUL gets you 20% off your first purchase. RHOBACK.com, code FOUL. Get after it, FT fam. We're going to talk Mets Dodgers coming up in a moment, among other series from yesterday. But we caught this little bit of news in David O'Brien's notebook. Steven from Hammer Territory, our Brave show, said, I'm sorry. Marcell Ozuna has a tear in his hip? That feels like news. He said in that little notes column, the quote, I don't want to rotate because my hip is shut down. So are you guys alarmed by that? Or Marcell Ozuna is a DH with a 900 plus OPS and we're good?
I'm confused. No one knows about this? Just
found out? Just snuck in the notes.
His hip labrum?
It wasn't very elaborate with the description.
Maybe we should get Dave O'Brien on and ask him.
He's got an open invite. Text him. He's got an open invite.
No one else is reporting this? Bowman's not reporting this?
Text him. Text Bowman. Be like, does Marcell Ozuna have a tear in his hip?
Wow.
And also, if so, I'll take a tear in my hip with a 427 on base and 153 OPS plus. He's been pretty good, Kratz. If you look at the body of work for the first 2.5 months.
I would love to see what the trainers have to say about this. Because they talk about all like, hey, don't tell anybody this. Okay, this is fine. All of a sudden he's just like, well, you know what? Got a little tear in my hip. I was on pace to, I was MVP of the team last year. I'll just take my 900 OPS with my tear in my hip. I don't know. Some guys are just better than others.
Okay, we'll put our investigators on the case. Whoever wants to text DOB or Bowman and see what's going on there. All right, we'll come back with Better Than Box Scores. We're going to try to hit Mets-Dodgers, which was a great game yesterday. Brewers-Reds, which was cool too. And Padres-Giants was great too, if you like pitching. Let's say Better Than Box Scores. The attention was from this weekend with the World Series rematch and the Yankees taking on the Dodgers. This is a really strong second place, Kratz. The NLCS rematch between the Mets and the Dodgers. It's a 4-game series, and it was off to a banging start. Dustin May gave up, I think, a second pitch homer to Francisco Lindor, but then pitched really well. Paul Blackburn put on a clinic. Dude's got 6-7 pitches and pitched really well against Ohtani. This went 10. Mets won by a run in 10 innings. They've beaten the Dodgers in 3 of 4 meetings so far this season. I feel like there's a lot to unpack here. We touched on Tanner Scott already, and if he's okay, he actually talked about fastball command issues after the game. But also Edwin Diaz with his first blown save of the year. That came in the bottom of the 9th. And I know you'll like this, Kratz. So the Dodgers do a lot of promos. Yesterday was Tommy Edman bobblehead day. I felt like every time he came up, it was like the most critical point in the game. And you're just thinking, oh, here comes the Hollywood script. And he came through on one of those ABs, but for the most part, obviously the Mets pitched him pretty well, including the last out of the game, a comebacker to Jose Butto. But what'd you think?
I mean, that could have been a base hit to end the game if Butto doesn't field that. I mean, this had everything. This had the drama of Ohtani almost going oppo. Yes, I get it. You got the game-tying sac fly. But the fact that Diaz was in there, and, I mean, isn't that what we want? We want the marquee matchups. We talk all the time about the starting pitchers. We rarely get the starting pitcher marquee matchups because of bullpen games and all this stuff. But the closer for your team that has not blown a save, the best record in the National League. I think the Mets had the best record going into the game. Going up against Ohtani, who is hotter than he was last year, and he's the MVP. Like, that's what you want. And it was the drama of the fact that it almost dunked right over that short little left. I mean, right down the left field line there in Dodger Stadium. It was awesome back and forth.
Yeah, confirmed. Mets do have the best record. Andy Fletcher at one point stole the show. There was a pitch down the middle, completely down the middle. It was in the lower quadrant. There it is, towards the top of it. Everyone's like, what?
This is I'm gonna try to make sure we stay on topic here. But this is exactly what I think sometimes the framing people get wrong. I get it. Francisco was looking to try to deke, maybe they were sending signs in that, hey, we want the fastball up right here. He was doing that, but the more you move around back there, there is a chance that the umpire can miss the call because they're human. He shouldn't have missed this call. If you watch on the highlight, Alvarez, he's up. He's trying to show, hey, we're gonna call fastball up here. And then they wanted it, I assume they wanted it down, and Diaz threw it right down the middle. Andy Fletcher, again, we talked about it, is set up essentially underneath Ohtani's elbow. Why is he not over the middle of the plate? Because they're afraid of concussions? Like, to me, you can help these umpires out by being like, hey, we saw your setup was a little off, and you won't miss this. And Andy's had a week. He's umpire of the week so far this week.
He is.
But they all set up on the inside shoulder, so that's nothing new. They're always on the inside shoulder.
Yeah, but the guys that do better.
Why does it matter how the catcher sets up or where he puts his glove? Like, the ball is being thrown in a certain spot. I never understood that when umpires would say, you didn't catch that one very well. Why does it matter? It was right down the middle. Like, it should be a strike. Also, like, on the borderline ones, I understand like that, but like that ball that's a strike 100 out of 100. It should be 1,000,000 out of 1,000,000. That ball is center cut, thigh high.
Also, a lot of catchers set up late.
Yeah, and nobody gives a target. They all give targets down in the dirt. So him going like this should have nothing to do with anything.
That pitch was bold, too. That's in the nitro zone for Ohtani. That
Ohtani
is exactly where he likes it.
I think Ohtani was thinking he's getting a slider for his pitch.
But that messes up the whole AB, right? I mean, if you're behind the plate, doesn't that screw things up for you?
Well, there's a difference. Listen, if they miss it with 2 strikes, I get a little more angry because then it changes, then the bat's over. When they miss it with 0-0, you're like, okay, you're a little bit angry, but then you wait to see how the at-bat plays out. Like, I used to wait till if the guy got out, like Ohtani did get out, but he did hit the sac fly. You're like, if he would have got a hit or hit a home run right there, then I'm like, full go.
Right.
Like, that's you. There are many times where a guy would miss a call, and I'd be like, that hit's on you. Like, you let him get another pitch. That's your fault. It's not my fault he threw a bad pitch. I'm like, well, you already struck him out twice.
He missed a tip, too.
I don't know.
Don't you hear that? You missed a foul tip.
Yeah, but Francisco missed it, too. Francisco ran after it. So, the noise isn't always the same. I'm not trying to be an apologist for Andy Fletcher, but Francisco ran after it. Francisco doesn't run after it like the one last year. Jonah Heim, I think it was in like the 9th inning. He was like, he didn't even go after the ball because he knew it tipped. And I'm not sure who missed it. Chad Fairchild maybe missed it. So guys miss it, but Alvarez, he confirmed what Andy Fletcher didn't hear.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so one more piece of the puzzle. I want to go to the 10th. Mets score twice, including Starling Marte coming in to replace Alvarez as a pinch runner, and then Lindor brings him home, right? So they have a 2-run advantage. We head to the bottom of the 10th. Jose Castillo on the mound for the Mets. Never picked up a save in his life. Still hasn't because Budo replaced him eventually. Looked like he was a little shook or just wasn't locating well. He walked Freddie. And then Pages handled a sinker for an RBI knock, made it 4-3, right? Muncy steps in. And I think on both broadcasts, they were like, oh, this could be a spot for Will Smith. Because Will Smith ended up coming in for the next AB, and Castillo can't get taken out yet because you have the 3-batter minimum rule. So a lot of people on social that are watching too are like, hey, this is probably that time. Will Smith is a .468 hitter in 47 ABs with runners in scoring position entering last night's game. He is the hottest hitter in clutch spots in baseball this year, and he's ready to go. Like, he was told he's going to pinch hit, and he did next AB. Do you think they just made a mistake there? Because then he even let Conforto dig in. I mean, step up, and then he replaced him. But do you think that Doc was considering putting Smith in for Muncy? Conforto's hitting lefties well this year.
Muncy's been hot, too.
Yeah, Muncy's been hot.
Conforto has not been hot.
Right, but he's actually been weird with splits. He's hitting lefties much better than righties. So you think Doc's just like, hey, Muncy's my guy. I want to let him hit because he's
I don't know.
On fire right now?
Maybe the numbers on his card didn't say to pinch hit. I don't know. You just never know. Like, if they have a consistent track record of doing something, you can go with it. But, they pick up these cards and they're like, oh, what does this card say? Oh, well, you can't pinch hit Muncy.
Okay.
I don't know.
Because it looked like Castillo was a little on the ropes, and they let him stay in for Muncy. He just got the advantage there, gets the strikeout, and then they yank him. But it's one game. Just was a question popping up, including from our fans in this one. Let's get to the Brewers and Reds. Kratz, you weren't on yesterday, so you get to talk nicely about your former teammate Christian Yelich, who had the game-winning homer, essentially, for the Brewers. That was the difference maker in a 2-2 game. They were down 2-0. They catch up, and then that was a blast to center field, and they closed out the Reds 3-2. They've won 8 straight. How dangerous are they?
If Kristian Yelich keeps hitting like he has the last 9 games, they're dangerous. It just feels like they might be a little short. They got the first win when Savali's been on the mound this year. I feel like they're just going to be a little short on the starting pitching side because of injury, because of the fact that you're pretty much just running Freddie Peralta out there. If Jose Quintana would come back. There's a lot of ifs, but they're hanging around. The issue is they're hanging around with a 8-game winning streak. And if there's one thing you can guarantee, it's Kristian Yelich in Cincinnati. This dude crushes the Reds. There could be no team wants to see anybody less than Kristian Yelich.
Yep, Great American Small Park is his friend.
By the way, you know why Kratz can't give him credit? Because they swept the Phillies this weekend. So he's like, I can't give the Brewers credit because they swept the Phillies this weekend. And that means they're actually doing pretty good, but the Phillies are my team. So I don't know. Who do I homer for?
But the Brewers needed the wins more.
Of course.
Yeah, but the Phillies laid an egg. They dominated them. They dominated the Phillies. They beat their bullpen. They blew them out. It was like the fact that, and Rhys Hoskins, you knew Rhys Hoskins was going to come back into Philly and do some of his work. He loves hitting in that place.
Oh, yeah. We saw it. 2 3-run homers in that game against Luzardo. All right, next up, Padres and Giants. Logan Webb was awesome. 8 shutout innings, 7 strikeouts. You saw when they fall 1-0 and 10 to the Padres, some of the reactions from the Giants players. They're like, oh my gosh, we couldn't give this guy any support in yesterday's game. Stephen Kolek pitched well for the Padres, and then, of course, the bullpen along the way. Good. But what else did you notice in this game?
Did you see the call?
I did.
I don't. We got to show this. The game was the game. It was 1-0. That's cool. Padres won. This call. How do we miss this call? Have you seen this play, Kratz?
No,
because it was replay reviewed.
I know. That's what I'm saying. I don't know if we can show the still or if we can show the Willy Adames got thrown out at second base. Back pick, I think. Here it is. It's a back pick by the catcher. And safe. Okay. They then show it from the right here. There's not anything touching the base. He's Bogaerts.
This is the shot.
Right here. He's first of all, he's out there, but then he comes off. He's still got the glove on him. After review, Lance Barksdale said he's safe. What? Huh?
I think I was in New York.
What?
With my one eye.
No, there was a blind guy in New York that did that replay review.
That's bad.
That's the worst one I've ever seen.
He's out twice.
That's the worst one. There's a still shot of him with his both feet off the base. Bogaerts is lying on top of him with the glove, like in his gut. And they're like, safe. See, this is when the guy in New York should have to answer a question about, well, I was actually drinking when this play happened, so I didn't really notice it because it was 1 a.m. on the East Coast. I don't know.
It was really bad.
He wasn't drinking. I'm just kidding.
Yes.
But, come on. How do you miss this? What do you Kratz? How do you miss that one?
I did not see it. Did you see it live or did you just see the replay of it?
I just saw the replay. What do you need to see live or replay?
I'm saying
did they shoot it to you?
Did they go real quick with their, was it like a long review? Because
who cares? There should have been 5 seconds. He's out.
That's what I mean. Why? How do we not get an explanation? And then the manager sits there.
He's out right there.
Manager sits there and goes, he's saying, well, I can't argue this. Well, who can I argue with? Because clearly, what did they not see?
Apparently they didn't see enough evidence. I don't know. It just doesn't make sense.
I'm lost.
That one got me. I don't know. I've seen calls and replay that I can't explain, but that one's like a UFO. It's unexplainable.
Yep. Kyle Glazer, who is our Friar Territory host, obviously was fired up when he was watching that one. He was posting in our chat BCC. He posted this screenshot. He's like, am I missing something here? It's not that close. Sometimes you look and it can be tough.
Even the George Springer where he was jumping, it was I mean, he came off by like half an inch, right? But, I mean, this one, it wasn't even close.
No.
I mean, it was –
No. Indisputable evidence. And for some reason, something happened. In those cases,
now the
I
question
just hope
is
they
this was always a question we had. Who were the umpires in the New York thing? As players, we always ask this. Do they know Lance Barstow, whoever made the call? Are they friends with him? Do they not want him to get a bad rating? This is always why we were like, as players, we're like, oh, who's in New York? And they would never tell you who was in New York. Because sometimes it's per people on that crew, and they're like, oh, well, that guy made the call as my crew chief or my buddy, and I want him to stay there, so I'm going to confirm the call. Now, I'm not saying that happened, but it was just questions that players always had, right, Kratz? We're always like, well, who's in New York? And do we know these people, right? Did you not always ask that as a player? Like, who's the umpire in New York? Who's the umpire that made the call? Because this guy might work with him down the road and doesn't want him mad at him because there was a lot of conspiracy theories.
That's exactly what it is. It's conspiracy theories. But for a little bit, in 2017, I think it was, when I was in New York with the Yankees, we tried to track it because the crews would be like, oh, hey, where are you going? Oh, we're staying here. Oh, where'd you come from? Oh, we were here. And so you try to like track whoever's coming into New York or is, the Mets or the Yankees. That way they give them an opportunity to be in a place for 8 days. So they stay and you're like, oh, I can kind of track who's going into the Mets or the Yankees. It could be this crew or that crew. It's all for nothing. You never find out till after the fact. And what are you going to do? You can't call New York and be like, hey, you idiot, you missed that one. That'll really get you thrown out.
NBA does that. They'll be like, oh, we messed something up.
Oh, MLB never says that.
No.
I guess Andres Galarraga, by the way, we said that was 15th anniversary yesterday of that one.
Yeah.
They came out and said that's why we have replay.
That one's pretty obvious. But
so was the one we just watched.
I agree. Yeah, they do the 2-minute report after games. And it's time. It just helps. Hey, there's a lot on the line these days. We need to get this stuff right. And if not, we just need to know what happened. I think the transparency and the ethics of the game that are so important should be playing out here.
I would love to hear an umpire go. I would love to hear an umpire go, man, it was so close. Like the play was so close, we couldn't overturn it. That's it. And then you hear the explanation on that one. We got it right. And then you're like, no, you didn't. Absolutely.
Why can't we get like they do in the NFL, like where the umpire comes on and explains it, or NBA? I mean, if you watch college basketball this year, I mean, they were reviewing stuff every 30 seconds.
That's ridiculous.
I mean, that was a little bit crazy.
College hoops is ridiculous.
Under review. This plays, I was like, oh my god.
They review like way too many fouls to see if they were bad fouls, like over the top.
But it was every ball that went out of bounds. They're like, we're going to review this. We're going to look at the clock.
They've got a problem.
Gosh.
Yeah. So you don't want that. You don't want MLB stopping the game. And also when we first had replay, remember it took a long time. And they've really gotten it much quicker. They've cleaned it up. So maybe they feel like they're on a clock and they don't get the angle they want. And so they just make a snap decision. I don't know. But
by the way, I said on Andres Galarraga, it's Armando Galarraga.
Yeah.
Apologies, Shawn Michael. Stop being a troll on everything. Thank you.
Andres,
you're not even the real Shawn Michael, okay? Shawn Michael is the Heartbreak Kid. You're not him. So stop. Thank you.
WWE reference or WWF, I think was.
What he was. Hey, Shawn Michael did say in the chat, BCC, is Scott going to go for Halloween as a pirate? That's funny. Eye patch, pirate. That's funny. Thank you, Shawn.
Yeah, I do see better if I go like this. It's really clear. If I go like this, it's really bad. But anyway, thank you. Glasses today are helping just a little bit. All right, we'll swing back. We have a couple things to get to. First off, Jason Benetti is going to join us soon, Tigers. And we're going to do a little segment on the best arms around the diamond. Todd Father and I are from Jersey, so we're used to, I got a guy. But sometimes that just means when I'm looking for a car, I go to Car Gurus.
Yeah, and I think, honestly, the best part about this is communication, which we love here in Jersey where we're from. And this is a place where you can get a car. The price drops all the time, and they let you know. They let you know when your car is ready and when you can get it. The communication part is the best thing for me, Scott.
Agreed. In-depth vehicle reviews, Car Gurus will connect you with trusted dealerships when you're ready, ensuring a transparent and hassle-free buying process with over 4 million listings. They have more car listings than any other major online automotive marketplace in the U.S., so you can find the best deal. Buy or sell your next car today with Car Gurus at cargurus.com. Go to cargurus.com to make sure your big deal is the best deal. That's CARGURUS.com. cargurus.com. Do you guys agree that the most talked about team in baseball this year is the Red Sox?
No, not even close.
What? Dodgers and Yankees?
Dodgers
or whatever?
and Yankees are still.
Okay, but in terms of like news, right? Like something happening?
No, not news. Just rigmarole.
Drama.
Yeah,
Drama.
it's like every day they have something new. Like, oh my gosh.
So
For a
Kristian
500
Campbell.
team.
Yeah, right, for a 500 team. I always say they should have done the documentary this year, not last year. Last year the team was boring. This year it's a pretty similar result, but it's very exciting. So Kristian Campbell to first base is done. Chris Cotillo, who joins the show often and works for Mass Live, said twofold in his mind. The impetus at first was a solution that would clear second base for Marcelo Meyer, but that's not happening now since Meyer's playing third for the injured Alex Bregman. And then also they've been impressed with Abraham Toro and may think that a Toro-Romy Gonzalez platoon can get them to the trade deadline.
Okay, then who do they go get at the trade deadline? They might be so far cooked that they can't. It might be so cooked. Why don't they go make a trade now?
They might be trading away players.
Seriously,
at the deadline.
I don't understand that one. Like, get to the trade deadline. Like, they might be cooked by then.
Treading.
What first basemans are available? Are they hoping that the Diamondbacks keep sliding and they put Naylor out on the market? Come on, stop! Like you're looking for a needle in a haystack. If you're looking for another team's first baseman, they need it now. They're happy with Toro and Romy Gonzalez. But Kristian Campbell's working out there. No other city would this be drama but Boston. Good for them.
In the week, you have an article on the Roar blog out there about the best arms around the diamond, and we're going off of the arm velocity on a position-by-position basis. So, did you guys see the list already?
No.
You didn't? Oh, wait, don't look.
Oh.
I was going to see.
Why would I look at that?
Do you know any? Just as a quick quiz.
Who
to
has
start
the best
us off.
arm?
Like at a position. Like by.
I would say Ellie or Mason Wynn at shortstop is the one.
Mason Wynn would be the one.
They've got Ellie. I'll give you answers on the fly here.
First base, I would think would be Wilson Contreras when he plays there, but he doesn't play there a lot.
They've got Josh Naylor.
Okay.
And this is highest. This is highest average velo. There's also a max velo, but that to me, average velo makes more sense. Max velo is just if you could throw it once super hard and you take the cake. But Josh Naylor's at first for this team. Ellie Taylor shortstop.
No, I wouldn't say Arenado. I'm just going to go Chapman because Arenado always throws on the run. You never see him throw from like a standstill.
Chapman is correct.
Chapman is
outfield.
Yeah.
Outfield, is Aaron Hicks still on there? Because didn't he throw one like 104 at one point?
I don't think
Aaron Hicks isn't playing. He has a retirement announcement coming out probably in 2090.
Ellie?
Yeah, shortstop was Ellie.
Second base is not Altuve.
You're not going to get second base because it's like not a big enough name in our sport.
The guy with the mustache plays for the Blue Jays.
Oh, Jimenez?
No.
Andres Jimenez?
It's Gabriel Arias of the Guardians.
How about Fernando Tatis? Tatis in the outfield. He's a shortstop.
One of the outfielders. There's three outfielders. That's one
Jackson
of the outfielders.
Merrill in center. He threw one the other day that was really hard.
The exit velocity. Who's like the StatCast king besides Ellie?
O'Neal Cruz.
Yeah. So he's got the arm. And
left
then
field?
Left field's a tough one.
Give me a division.
AL West. I might even give you the team.
Oakland?
Yeah, the A's.
Soderstrom.
Yeah.
No, and Duhar.
Well, oh, jeez.
What?
Is catcher Dingler?
Yeah, catcher Dingler. Dylan Dingler.
Yeah, but he nenever gets rid of it. He's like
that is exactly the scouting report.
Doesn't matter.
He's
he
like
throws it hard.
He's like powering up. He's like like Alfaro used to be. Alfaro when he was with the Marlins, he would just I mean, his arm would just go up forever, and then it was like it would go fast, but it wouldn't get there in time.
It is interesting. So he's got the top throwing arm, but he has the 60th fastest exchange time, which is 6th worst. So his pop time, which combines both, is 24th. So he's still above average.
One in pop time is it still JT?
I don't have that in front of me.
Showcase kid, AJ. Showcase kid.
The Marchand kid for the Phillies has got a cannon. The catcher,
Rafael Marchand.
Dude, he's got a freaking cannon.
Mm-hmm.
Last year, the fastest time down to second, pop time measured was Stubby. Garrett Stubbs.
He gone.
AAA.
All right, so that was cool. Any thoughts on any of these guys? And
see, I would love to see all these guys. Obviously, they're not all all-stars. But if you're on this list, go to the all-star game and have some kind of throwing competition. Maybe I'm super boring baseball guy. I want to see these guys all light up the radar gun, hit a target, whatever it is. You can make it fast. You can make guys enjoy it. I think something like that would be fun.
Would front offices ever allow
No.
hard throws from position players or from anyone? I mean, they allow pitching, obviously, in the All-Star game, but I think front offices would lose their mind on that.
Players haven't changed. Front offices have. Snowflake.
Yeah, of course. So I agree. I mean, it's impressive. You know, the guys we're talking about, it was actually pretty cool. You guys got most of this list.
Who was short? Was it Mason?
Ellie.
Shortstop is Ellie. So technically Arias is listed for second and short. So I went Ellie because I'm putting Arias at second. I'm not putting him at multiple positions. It's not like whatever you talked about. One of you talked about some state awards where you can win awards at like multiple positions. Was that you or was that him?
Wasn't me.
Was it Kratz? That was you. Yeah. Okay. So anyway, Arias I put at second. So Ellie's got a max throwing velo of 95.8, and he averages 90.9. Max throwing velo for O'Neal Cruz is 104.9.
That's insane.
That is insane, and he averages 97.8 with his outfield throws.
104.
He's a freak. Do you know
Avatar? What did McCutcheon call him? An avatar.
Yeah. Have you seen how much he's running this year too?
Doesn't have to play shortstop anymore. He's free.
He's got 20 stolen bases already.
He takes 3 steps,
and they're big steps.
That's what I'm saying.
He's fun to
training.
watch.
He was one. We always talk about it. I mean, AJ always talks about having Scooble sit next to him and like how big he was. O'Neal Cruz was one of the biggest. I think the biggest guy we saw in spring training. Just the fact that he's running around in the outfield.
He's having a better season at the plate than Ellie right now.
Are you crying about that?
No, I love O'Neal Cruz. I don't know if you guys have recognized.
You haven't. You know what?
I like players that stand out.
You have not brought up. He hasn't brought up Ellie in months. You haven't.
That's messed up.
Kratz, he hasn't mentioned Ellie in months.
Well, I have one eye now, so I'm a Pirate fan.
By the way, speaking, did you guys see? I don't know if y'all saw this. This is going to be a weird. This whole thing. Did you guys see the video? The video that was online of the kid. The kid struck out and the pitch was way off the plate, and then the high school kid was walking off the field and he went like this to the hitter. I know you guys. It was like all over social media. You guys didn't see it?
No.
So, anyways, that was my son catching, and the kid pitching is his buddy, and the pitch was like. I mean, the pitch was not a strike, right?
It went viral?
Oh, it was all over the internet because baseball people were like, the pitcher really gave him the crying eye. The pitcher literally, the hitter was complaining. I mean, the ball was like, it was not a strike. Yeah. But the pitcher walking off the mound looks at the hitter and he's like, it gave him the crying eye emoji.
Wow. I did not know that.
And then this is way in the weeds. We're in the weeds. Mm-hmm. But so last night I was at my son's summer league game, and the pitcher was at the game just watching because he's not pitching for the summer. Before they go to college, they play in the summer league.
Yep.
And the pitcher was there, and he was talking about it. And somebody went on made a burner account, was like talking trash, like he was the pitcher. And the coach for the other team was like firing stuff back at the pitcher, thinking it was even though the pitcher was like, this is not me. It was like, dude, you're the coach. Like, calm down. The coach of the losing team.
The coach needs to get off the.
I was like, dude, this is kind of crazy.
That's like middle. Like, is he 12? The coach?
I don't know. It was just dude. Like, what are we talking about?
Get off your phone. That's bad.
It was bad. Anyways.
All right. Well, send us that clip, please, because I would like to see that. No, I don't think I caught it. That's usually something you would text us. I didn't see that.
I have to get it. Yeah.
Okay. Coming up next, Jason Benetti, Tigers broadcaster, who has witnessed some unique history lately. Hey, we're back. I'm going to take a chat BCC note here. Brandon right now is in there, said, very interesting coming up for the Cardinals, 28 games in 29 days. Oh, he did some intense math here. If they go 11-17 and fall 6+ games back of the wild card, I'll be curious to see what they do being at the 500 mark. Would they trade their starting pitching rentals and Ryan Helsley? Curious to see if they keep surprising or fall back to reality. I mean, this is a debate that we've had on this show too. And I was on the Cardinals radio station last night talking about this because it's been a cool story. He asked if we're surprised about the Cardinals so far. I was like, a little. I said it's on like a 6 or 7 for me because they didn't lose anyone, Kratz. They didn't sell pieces away. If they sold half their team away in the offseason and then they were like this, I'd be shocked. But they've had some guys that are in what should be prime years, 26, 27, 28 kind of range, like Nootbaar and Donovan take another step, and they didn't lose anyone. I mean, you're a much better team when you have Helsley, when you have Sonny Gray dealing the other day to help them when they had a couple series losses back to back. So I'm not surprised. I just still think they're probably going to be in that 500 range by the time we get to the end of the season, if not worse, if they end up selling parts.
I'm not surprised because the organization has done nothing but winning. I'm surprised that they're doing as well as they are. To me, the biggest question is going to be whether they stay right where they're at and they're in the wild card, like they're one of the teams in the wild card lead. Who makes the decisions? How hard do they push? Hein Bloom is waiting in the wings. He's like, I don't want you to hamstring me for next year. I don't want to have a reboot in my first year. That's why I'm not the GM this year. Well, Zalok's like, I want to go in. This is my last year. I want this playoff run. So who makes these decisions? That's the most interesting thing to me.
Some of it's going to be play of the team. I mean, if they're within, I would say, 5 games of a wild card spot, they're probably going to at least stand pat.
5 games? 5's too much. At the trade deadline,
what's your number? What's your number? 3
or less.
What's your number?
3 or less. Because there's so many teams. You could be 5 games back of a wild card and just a wild card spot, and there could be 3 teams ahead of you. Like 5 feels like too much.
So what about 4? 4's too much?
Yeah, three's my number.
You see how far back the Tigers were last year? Hey, we've got Tigers broadcaster, Fox broadcaster, Jason Benetti joining us right now. Good to see you, bud. Been listening to you a lot lately. You're crushing it. And I have to start here. What the heck's going on? You're calling 2 of the most unique plays I think I've ever seen, and it happened in the last few weeks. What are you doing?
I don't know. I have no idea. The Tigers season has been overserved. Like there's something has happened to the Tigers season. There's insanity every night. There was insanity every night from August on last year. I have no idea. And we had just seen a couple innings before the replay of the Abreu one, which was crazy. Like, great job, Abreu and Rafaela. Zach McKinstry was even shocked. Like, if you look at the reactions of Dingler and McKinstry, they're like, what was that? Why did that happen? And they're the ones who did it. So, I mean, I think that's pretty much a microcosm of what the Tigers have been the last calendar year.
All right. By the way, we had this argument because when I text you to come on our show today, I said, and you said you might be in your Uber. I'm happy that you're not in your Uber. But do you take an Uber XL? Do you take an Uber Black? Or do you take a different Uber that I've never heard of, like a Uber van or something? I don't know.
Uber
I never
van.
get past
Black.
Soccer
practice? Do you think I go to soccer practice all the
Black.
time?
I don't know because we had this with Matthew Boyd, and he's like, Kratz asked if he takes an Uber or a taxi. I'm like, nobody takes taxis. It's the big leagues now.
So, just regular Uber. Like, I don't need Uber Black. I do, like, if there's the extra $2 for, like, Lyft, like, preferred or whatever, because the cars are supposed to be cleaner. And, like, I don't like, my big pet peeve is getting into an Uber or Lyft, and the person has just recently smoked. Like, I don't want to smell like I just left blackjack at the Flamingo when I get in a car and then out of a car. I'm out for that.
Hey, I've been in cars with you. That is such a lie, dude. That is like the biggest lie. Like, you don't want a special car. Like, that is such crap. Because we got like an Escalade.
What are you talking about?
Like, where's the Escalade XL? Please, I need the XL because
that is not true.
That is so true. When the poor runner shows up in their car, where were we? In Baltimore? We were in Baltimore. Don't tell me you didn't complain.
No. Okay, here's the deal. Here's the deal in Baltimore. I said to AJ after we got out of the car in Baltimore, I said, first time driving for this guy. Because that was not an Uber. That was the guy that picked us up. Because we were going like 6 miles an hour the one time up a hill. We were literally almost stopped. So it has nothing to do with the size of the car. It had everything to do with the idea that the person probably would have been better off starting in a go-kart.
There was one point where I thought we might have to get out and push because we were.
Yes,
the guy
was the deal.
Driving us goes, I don't know if we're gonna make it up this hill.
That's what he said. He said, I don't know if we're gonna make it.
We're like, wait,
it was what? Like Fred Flintstone was driving us. He was using his feet first and then the pedal.
By the way, what's Lyft? I don't know what Lyft is. Sorry.
Lyft is an Uber competitor. Sorry.
Yes. He's so bougie.
I'll give a sponsor. I'm sorry.
We don't.
We don't actually.
But now we won't. Now we
XL
won't.
Black. Thank you.
Now you definitely won't.
All right, I got to ask you before we dig into the Tigers, as you're the Michigan Sportscaster of the Year, reigning champion. Are you happy?
Oh my God.
Are you happy to be the Tigers broadcaster, or do you still wish you were maybe the Rockies or the White Sox broadcaster? Because I mean, they're having equally good seasons the last couple of years. It's very, very similar.
I don't know what that motion is. Yes, I'm very, very happy as the Tigers announcer. I will tell you that when I walked into Rate Field yesterday, the security guard outside said to me, I was like, hey, White Sox are better. He goes, at least we're not the Rockies. I was like, yeah, get after it, man.
That is true. Hey, it is tough, though. I mean, you can tell us about this, right? Because you've been a team broadcaster for quite a while now. How much easier is it to do your job when the games are competitive and fun versus, I'm sure, I don't know which years you've been through and how tough they are, but I know some friends of mine, I won't name them, in the industry who have been part of, teams that went through long tanks, rebuilds, whatever, and they're like, I love calling games, but this gets tough, 110 plus losses.
Yeah, honestly, like I did a bunch of minor league seasons that were like rough win seasons too. And everybody on this show knows like the minors, there's even less to play for. So like I'm kind of used to doing seasons that go south. That happened a bunch in the minors for me. The one thing that I would say I think is really cool about this Tigers team as a narrator is that AJ Hinch is so logical and strategic and like high level poker player with his roster and with the way he manages that I can see after watching him for a while, like patterns, but I know that there's always a point to what he's doing. So I can search out the point of what he's doing and try to get there in terms of personnel. Like, why is this batter up? Why did Andy Ibanez hit here? Why didn't he hit there? What is it about the pitcher's stuff? Because there's always a why and a pretty distinct specific why. So to me, it's about more having the logic of somebody in charge that like really does specifically want certain matchups. That makes it a lot easier than when you're guessing sometimes.
All right, let's go to this roster. Let's go to this roster that has been winning the whole year. And then Wenzel Perez comes back. Oh, and he just comes out banging. Parker Meadows plays in his first game. And what does he do? Oh, gets a few hits, but he also makes a diving play in the third most important position on the field, in center field. Like, you would never look at the Tigers and go, they have tons of depth. Because in the offseason, it was like they're neck and neck for the Alex Bregman. Oh, they got it. They didn't get Bregman. It almost seems like the Tigers are like, piss off. We didn't even need Bregman. We don't need extra depth because we've been winning, and some of these players who have just come back are adding to the team that's already been winning.
And they've already played a really tough stretch of schedule too, Erik. Like you look, they have like the fourth easiest schedule remaining in baseball by win percentage. Maybe it's like sixth as of today, but it's definitely in the bottom third of the league. And, Parker Meadows coming back improves one thing the Tigers just have not done a whole lot of this year. They've been number one in baseball in extra bases taken. So like first to third, second to home. We've seen Joey Cora just spinning the wheel and waving people around. Coming into yesterday, they were dead last in stolen bases. Parker Meadows immediately in game one steals a base since coming back from injury. And then also the outfield defense just got so much better. You mentioned Wencel Perez. Riley Green moves to the corner. You get Meadows in center. Even though Javi was great in center field, Parker Meadows is like state of the art in center field. So now you can run out configurations where there are three center fielders. I think that's a huge part of this thing too. So yeah, this is a really scary team that I think probably until like 10 days ago still was kind of lurking nationally.
All right, this team was young, had a young lineup. Anytime you have Javi Baez in your lineup, you're not really working too many counts. Have you seen the change that having a Gleyber Torres who has more walks than strikeouts in the lineup? Have you seen how the lineup maybe navigates at bats differently from last year where it was chaos in the bullpen and if our pitching doesn't do anything, we're not going to win, to now a lineup that, to me, I see a difference in how they attack at bats?
I agree. And I think that playoff experience last year showed the young guys what it takes to succeed, even specifically offensively in the playoffs. I think probably they really believe that their hitters meetings are as detailed as can possibly be. I love that picture, by the way. That is like the grainiest, most hilarious black and white picture ever. That's amazing. That's going to be Tiger of the Day today on our telecast, I have to imagine. But Gleyber Torres, AJ Hinch was talking about this when we were in Houston. Josh Reddick had stopped by. He's doing some pre and post for the Astros. And AJ was like, man, when we added a guy like Reddick or like other quote unquote professional at bats in Houston, you could see the impact on the lineup. And you all know that, like you see it, but anecdotally it's true. Like Gleyber Torres is a really difficult, specifically first inning at bat generally. And the Tigers, for the balance of this season, have been at the top of the league in pitches seen in the first inning. They made life really difficult last night on Jonathan Cannon and bounced him very early from that game. And it's in part because of Gleyber's patience and willingness to put together a really strong at bat. I'm totally with you, Kratz.
So, Jason, what's the kryptonite? What's the fear right now? And what will we be talking about over the next month and a half come trade deadline time? Because, this team's clicking. They've got a great record. They're in a great spot. But, of course, they're going to work on things at the trade deadline and try and go a little further than they did last year. What would you do? What's on the wish list?
Yeah, I think, kryptonite and wish list probably, I would say, are a little bit, the fear is injury, right? They've handled injury very well so far this year with 3 center fielders on the IL to start the year. I think the thing that they would go get, if I'm just looking at the numbers and overall picture of the roster, would be swing and miss in the bullpen, right? The bullpen has had a very nice ERA this year, top 5. The strikeout rate is not fantastic. So I think we have seen enough in the past couple of weeks in Tigerland where Cade Smith comes in out of the Cleveland bullpen and strikes out the side, or like Randy Rodriguez's stuff, or, whoever out of that San Francisco bullpen that we just saw in Detroit. I think swing and miss stuff in the bullpen probably would be on the list. And then I think the injury thing would be the kryptonite. But you can also, before the last day of July, if you have an injury, you can settle that at the trade deadline. So, I would say number one would be swing and miss out of the bullpen that I would think that they would really start to think about.
Okay, I want to take us back to the top of the conversation because we didn't really dive in too much. Did you talk to any of the guys that had the pinball place, right? Because you've called 2 now. So did you talk to McKinstry, or Dingler, and then I guess the other side was 2 Red Sox players, so maybe less likely. But I mean, any aftermath from that, and also how rare it is. I don't know if you can even look that up. I think on the call yesterday you mentioned, is this the first time ever we got a 2-5 play in foul ground to make an out? I don't know if that was looked up, but anything after the fact that you learned about?
Just a very quick text with McKinstry last night, but like I once we're in the clubhouse today, I'll get you some answers on that. But I think they were both surprised for sure. That was my takeaway. We tried to look it up, but I don't know that has ever happened. There were a couple 2-3s though, like the 1980 World Series. It happened. 2016, David Ross to Anthony Rizzo. They both happened on the other side of the diamond, catcher to first base. I haven't seen any catcher to third base, but we did get a substantial amount of tweets of people telling on folks who said in their replies, I did it in Little League. So I'm certain it's happened and people have done it, but not in Major League Baseball, according to what we saw. But no, I haven't talked to him at any length. I'm going to do that today.
There's a very famous one of me running over Gordon Beckham in the Metrodome when he tried to play third base, catching the ball. Actually, Jason, you'll love this. Gordon's grandmother had a picture painted of me crippling Gordon Beckham.
Why would she have a picture?
I don't know, but it was like a painted picture. It was like a portrait of me like Beckham and I running into each other in the Metrodome.
Wow.
And he had to hang it over like his fireplace in his house because it was his grandmother bought it for him. So he's like, what am I supposed to do with this thing?
What did he say to you after? Did he say, the boys are grinding, AJ? The boys are grinding. They're getting after it. They're grinding.
I said, Gordon, get off the tracks when the train's coming through, okay? Should have caught that and called me off.
I guarantee you he got the worst of that, right? Like did he get flattened? What happened?
He might have missed a week. I don't know. I don't remember.
He retired? No.
Oh. Wow, Scott.
I didn't say that. I love Gordo. I love you.
I'm kidding.
I do too.
All right, I got one more for you on these 2 plays. I'll do the nerdy broadcaster side of me because we do, of course, have some aspiring broadcasters that watch and listen. How does that play out in your brain? I feel like things happen differently for different broadcasters. I know there's some broadcasters who I talk to who try to visualize certain moments, games, playoff games, whatever, and what kind of calls they want to make. Most, I think, don't, and they just kind of flow. In this case, you don't know what's happening at all to any extent. So how does that play out in your brain? If you can try to give me play-by-play of the brain while this is happening.
Yeah, it's a good question. The first thing that I would say is once you do a bunch of games, you know that you can call the play if it's routine, right? You know that like if it's a pop-up, he's either going to catch it or he isn't. So you're ready for that. So I think the thing that's changed for me over, the last handful of years, 5-6 years, as I've done more and more Major League Baseball is I'm kind of waiting for the oddity and ready for it. Not that I'm like expecting it in any way, shape, or form, because I'm certainly not. But he's either going to catch it or he's not. So like you have that. It's all about watching this play, this moment. And so I think you just react as a human being. Like my call last night, I don't know that anybody's going to say like in broadcasting school, be like, no. What? Wait, what? But that's what ran through my head is like, not again, right? Like what are we going to keep having these sorts of plays? And he just pinned it to his leg. And I was just shocked more than anything. And then it's like, okay, what did that look like to me? And I try to analogize or like whatever pops in my mind. I don't really have an enormous filter, as people will know. So like if it pops in my mind, I'm probably going to say it.
Jason, by the way, you're pretty funny. I think you're funny. What? I just want to know this. Did you realize back in, what year were you in AA that Fox would hire Joe Davis, you and Adam Amin, all of you guys? One of you was in Montgomery, one of you was in wherever. I mean, all three. Weren't you guys all three in the Southern League at the same time doing game or around the same time? Wasn't it something like that?
Yeah, we were in the minors all together. I don't think ever in the same league. Joe was in the Southern League. Adam was doing like he was doing AA in the, I think like the East Coast maybe or something like the Somerset Patriots. They were indie ball, I think. And then I was in Salem, Virginia with an Astros team. You ever seen Borat, where Borat goes to the rodeo? That was in our parking lot. So it was awesome. I love Salem, Virginia. It's a great place. The rodeo was actually in that parking lot. So that's actually true. But yeah, no, it's nuts. It's honestly nuts. Like I wish more minor league announcers would get a chance in the majors, because I think there is a lot to having called a bunch of games. Like, I will tell you, I'm not nearly as ready for plays like that, like we've seen, if I haven't done a ton of games where I've made mistakes like you get to in the minors.
Yeah, that's
awesome.
A good call.
Awesome. By the way, you eat more than any of those guys combined. Just saying. Just throwing it out there.
He throws down?
Once this hamster stops running in the wheel, I'm going to be 400 pounds.
Oh, man. Meh.
My metabolism is saving my life right now.
Oh, my gosh.
Hey, enjoy it while you got it. And by the way, props to whatever Fox executive is the scout that goes to those minor league games. And he's like, I think we got a guy. We got a guy. Just keep him on the radar.
Seriously.
5 years.
That's what they do with analysts, too. That's how they do it with analysts, too. They go and they look for the most irascible catcher they can find. And they're like, that guy's going to be awesome.
Yes.
I can confirm that's real, right? Like, when I worked at MLB, we would talk to guys sometimes and be like, maybe future broadcaster. Yeah. Like that was a big conversation. We'd be like, this guy might have it. Jason, great stuff, man. Great to catch up. Good to see you. Enjoy the rest of the series. We'll catch you down the line.
Thanks, guys.
Appreciate you. That's Jason Benetti, Tigers broadcaster on Fox for the national game, sometimes with AJ in big cars. Bask in your glory. AJ takes the cake yesterday with the plus 177 parlay.
Jack Flaherty, 18 outs, boys and
Banger.
girls.
Joe Ryan did not pick up the punch outside need. You're right. The A's can swing it. Oof, I got annihilated in that one yesterday. That game got off the rails fast. I don't remember who it was, but the left fielder botched a fly ball, and then all hell broke loose in that inning for the Twins. The A's are atrocious. I mean, they're on another planet right now. Cam and Pap also lost as they had the same bet lined up. Kratz has a bill to pay.
Jeez, Kratz.
The rest of us are in good shape right now with money bags. So, all right, Kratz, today's the day, man. I'm riding with you. What do you have for us?
I got a little plus 101, so essentially even money with Brian Bello going over 15 and a half outs. The Red Sox bullpen got crushed yesterday after that first inning by the Angels. So Bello's gone over it, I think, 3 of the last 5 times. So we're looking for the guy. Just 1 out in the 5th. I mean, 1 out in the 6th. That's it.
The biggest concern you'll have when you're watching that game tonight, and I'll watch along with you, is the Red Sox defense.
Yep.
It's really
bad. But it's
bad.
Devers' fault. It's all Devers' fault.
What's his defensive position?
Well, no, but that's what they said the last couple of years. It was all Devers' fault.
Oh, yeah? Now what?
That's the whole point. It's not Devers' fault.
No.
It's other people's fault.
Now I think they've got a case of the Yankees from last year. There's just guys out of position. They're just trying to mix and match, and it ain't working. It's ugly. Yesterday was ugly on defense for them, and I felt like we saw that a lot last year. So aside from that, good luck, Kratz. I'll be watching with you, and I'm riding with you. I'll tell that. You want to do yours?
I can. It's quick.
Okay.
I'm going over 16 and a half outs for Yusei Kikuchi against the Red Sox because the Red Sox have struggled hitting. And I'm also going over 7.5 punch-outs Yankees as a team because they punch out a lot. Bibee starting, he'll get a couple, but their bullpen, if they get in there for Cleveland, will punch out a few tickets for them. On the Yankees, that gets me to plus 186.
There you go.
Kikuchi's going to go 6 innings against the Red Sox. Book it, Dana.
There you go. All right, so AJ's got the bolder bet. I'll give you a minus bet. It's still close to even money, but I'll do it when we swing back because we got just a quickie segment here on Injuries Suck. We'll give you a couple quick updates, and then we'll be back with my lock. Only got a minute here. two quickies on injuries suck. I'm just going to read both tweets if we can. Tyler Glasnow bullpen session recently. Dave Roberts said, body is not responding. Still playing catch. Team doesn't know when he'll get off a mound again. So it's not responding well when he got back on a mound. And he's frustrated. And then also Luke Weaver's going to miss time for the Yankees. IL could miss 4 to 6 weeks with the hamstring issue that he's dealing with. Weaver will be back. I mean, sucks for the Yanks, but they'll be okay. Glasnow, I don't know. I mean, it's always been a thing. You just want to get him. Honestly, like, I want to get him Robert Horry style. Just get him back for the playoffs. Get him back in September if you can.
So if he starts in September, be ready to go.
Yeah. He's got ace stuff. He wasn't pitching for them last year in the playoffs. They could have used him. So.
And Weaver, they just slide Devin Williams in, and hopefully he does good.
Yeah.
But
I'm not worried about that.
I never want to see guys get hurt.
Yeah.
Tough decision for him. We'll just slide Devin Williams in. Trevor Hoffman.
He's been pitching good, too. He's been pitching good.
He's really settled in very nicely. Velocity jump, too. Just saying.
He's a slow starter.
He always has been.
He has. All right, FT fam, we'll be back for Slap. I'll try to go for some high scoring with your BetMGM lock. Phillies and Blue Jays. Phillies need to get rolling again as they had a rough weekend. Blue Jays have been on a little heater. Offense is picking up the pace.
Than you remember.
Yeah. It's Bowden Francis on the mound. ERA is a bit over 5. It's higher at home. It's a bit over 6. Phillies bullpen certainly hasn't been great. Blue Jays are hitting lefties well at home. Add it all up. 8.5's the line. Minus 120. I'll go over it. I'll just lay down 120 to win a hundo. Try to get myself back on track. Someone have a home run lock?
Jack Caglione.
In his debut?
Going deep. Palente throws the ball down. Cags likes the ball down. He throws some sinkers.
I would love to see it. Cool to get that matchup, too. You've got.
He's a dingerman. He hits dingers. That's what he does. He did it when he went to AAA. It's not Salt Lake where he's hitting anymore, but he can hit some dingers in St. Louis. I got Christian Yelich. 2 things are guaranteed. 3 things are guaranteed. Death, taxes, and Yelly raking in Cincinnati.
Yeah, I would be careful with him if I'm Cincinnati today. He's hot right now. There's your locks. Also, if you'd like to go with a little home run pick tonight, BetMGM's got your back with the MLB Home Run No Sweat token. Activate that token. And then if your bet comes up short, you'll get your stake back in bonus bets. More details on the BetMGM app. Gambling problem or concern, call 1-800-GAMBLER. We're going to come right back with Slap Hands on FT before we say bye. All right, let's slap. I know Buck Showalter's coming on Thursday's show. I'll let you know maybe later, maybe in Chat BCC. I'll tell you who we have lined up for tomorrow's show once we work on those later on. You have something for us in slap?
I do. So I'm missing tomorrow because I'm flying to Vegas. But So there's a picture of Benetti. It's like kind of like a meme. So you see him, he's crushing food. That's in Cleveland in the press box.
Yeah.
So one thing you have to understand when you spend a lot of time with your play, and I've done a lot of games with Benetti, you kind of get like these inside jokes. So if this could run, he goes like this and he goes meh, meh. So every time I see him, I'm just like meh.
He doesn't do it on air though, does he?
No. But he just did it. I don't know why he did that when I took a picture of him, but he just goes. I go, how are the chicken fingers? He just goes meh. So I don't know. It's just, but so then every time I see him, like I was looking, I'll just go meh, and he knows exactly what I'm talking about.
Like MEH?
Yeah, like meh.
They're meh.
Yeah, but he's awesome. If you don't know him at all, he's awesome. He's just awesome.
Yeah, he's a really good broadcaster. It's very entertaining to listen to Tigers games these days, and not just because of the results on the field. What are you wearing today, Kratz?
Team with a run differential of +3. +3 run differential. That's your stat. This team should rake. They should have like a +50 run differential. But it doesn't matter.
Amen. All right, and for the last minute here, I don't know how far along the line you want to go, but hey, this is a show where we emphasize transparency. I know the team fell yesterday, so what did you tell the boys afterward?
It's crushing, man. I'm still having a tough time getting over it because the team wasn't better than them, but you make mistakes in baseball, that's what happens. You give teams extra outs, you give them extra bases. But you know what? Had a great season, came together, and the future looks bright. They're a very young team.
It was a 1-run game too, right?
7-6. We got the first two runners on. First two runners on in the bottom of the 7th. Nobody out. We missed the bunt sign.
Oh, no.
Got to get that bunt down, kid.
You got to get the sign before you get the bunt down.
But shouldn't they just know they're bunting? I mean, shouldn't they just automatically know they're bunting at that point?
So, tomorrow, we're going to talk baseball.
I texted Kratz last night.
Well, that sucks. It sucks. I'm sorry, Kratz, to hear that.
sucks.
But by the way, the worst day is after you lose because there's no practice.
Right. It feels weird.
Feels
worse.
Feels hollow.
Yep.